welcome to the Aaron Harber Show. My special guest, the Governor of Colorado, John Hickenlooper. John, welcome back.
Nice to see you.
Hey, it's great having you on the show. You know, one of the things that I've never asked you is, and I think a lot of viewers would be interested, what's a typical day for you as governor? Not that any day is typical.
There's no typical day. So, and it's funny, for the first 6 years I was governor, I would have literally 12 to 14 meetings a day. I mean, just get in there at 8, you push yourself the whole day, you leave at 6 and then go do some events. And I was asked to go speak to the General Assembly in California about marijuana legalization. They were just getting ready to legalize it. And Governor Brown asked me if I had some time to come up to his office. I did. We spent an hour talking. At one point, towards the end, he asked me, how well do you do with your schedule? I said, well, I think I do pretty well. He says, you know, I took, a trip and I came back, and on the trip back, I looked at, for the previous 6 months, and I looked at every single meeting I took. And I said, is this meeting really something that's going to help me decide the most important questions facing California? Or is it just some senior VP wants to tell their boss that they met with the governor of California? And he says, I eliminated 75% of my meetings.
Wow.
And he spends 2 hours a day just thinking, 2 hours a day calling people and asking their advice and trying to formulate his thoughts. It transforms. So I have not gotten to his level, but I keep 2 hours a day now, hopefully every day, unless emergencies come up, which they often do. But 2 hours a day just to call people, to think, to send emails, but for basic unstructured time. So if I have got something that I really need to think about, I can.
What a great idea.
It's a step forward.
Okay, I'm going to try that.
Exactly.
We'll see how it goes. It won't last more than a day for me. What have you enjoyed most about being governor so far?
I think the fact that I meet an array of people across all spectrums, across political spectrums, economic spectrums, professional spectrums. I meet this amazing array of people that I would never get to meet in any other endeavor. They are so often the people that care the most about their community. And again, whether they're working for a nonprofit trying to provide counseling or support to people with drug addictions, or whether they're corporate titans who are trying to figure out how to change the whole way we train the workforce. You're meeting people that are unique and special again and again. Plus you get to meet some of the greatest musicians there are.
Well, yeah, and you get to play with them too.
Every once in a while.
All right, well, we're going to try to run some footage of when you were first on the show, by the way. Because when you came in, and this was before you ran for mayor, I had no idea who you were, and I thought Bill Gates was walking into the room. You had glasses.
It's funny, so that means that was pre-2000.
Yeah.
Or pre-2001, which is when I got LASIK surgery. And not having those big, heavy plastic, because even if I got the lightest frames, frameless glasses, the plastic lenses were so thick that they were just really heavy, and people would look at me and the light rays would come in like this, so they looked like my head was squeezed in. I just always hated it. And I'm not sure I would have gone into an election if I still had those gigantic clodhopper glasses.
I think you could use those to start a campfire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
So when you look back so far on what you've done, what are you most proud of in terms of accomplishments?
On the large arc, right? The things that'll have a tail that'll last a long time. I think we've changed the culture in Colorado from a place that was really a destination and for resorts, for tourists. Now I think we are a destination for entrepreneurs and people that are, getting ready to build their lives. And in the process of doing that, I think many Coloradans think of this as a place that's pro-business, that we're about small business, and yet we hold ourselves to these high environmental standards, high ethical standards. So that cultural shift. I mean, there are other things. I mean, we're going to unveil this fall an app that'll allow you whatever trail you're hiking or mountain biking on. Is it on state land, federal land, private land? With open easements. Anywhere you go, you'll be able to see a database that will allow you to post audio files, visual files, photographic files, comments, text, and go back and access them based on date and geographic location whenever. And at the same time, you'll be able to communicate with other people that moment who choose to communicate back to you. But you'll see where other people are, and you can ask, is it still snowing on the other side of the pass? Stuff like that. I mean, there are all kinds of little things like that I've,
That sounds like fun.
I'm kind of a nerd, and yeah,
You can drop the kinda.
I'm a nerd, and that stuff. Some of the stuff we started with nonprofits. Even before I got there, we got the first grant from the Susan Buffett Foundation and provided long-acting reversible contraception to young women and girls, all across the state. 29 clinics, all kinds of nonprofits.
Huge impact too.
Yeah, so we reduced teenage pregnancies by 65%, and reduced teenage abortions by over 70%. I mean, that's that allowing, especially low-income young women, the opportunity to plan when they're going to have a family is life-transforming. It's life-saving in many cases, right? It allows many of these women to finish high school, to get some skills, to begin to build their professional life before suddenly they've got all these responsibilities.
Those numbers, by the way, are staggering in terms of success, and I know was recognized nationally as well. I know you don't have many years to go in your term, to put it mildly. Is there anything else you'd like to get done or accomplish before you leave in 2019? Yeah,
we are full tilt. I mean, I've got on my cell phone, on the calendar, there's a counter. So I know that today I've got, whatever it is, who knows, 195 days or 165 days.
Does it have hours on it too?
No, just the days.
Okay, because I would tell Jerry Brown if it did.
We have though, I mean, we're doing a workforce program reimagination whereby, so we're working very hard on a workforce initiative that is a combination. One is called CareerWise, which is apprenticeships. So kids, if they want to, can choose to, maybe not plan to go immediately to college. And so when they're 16 or 17, they can, usually their junior year, they can go to work. And they can work, and not just in trades, they can work at an insurance company or a bank, aerospace, advanced manufacturing. They'll go work 2 days, and then they'll go back to school 3 days. But what they learn at school is going to help them be more successful at where they're working. And then at the next year, they'll work 3 days and go back to school 2 days. And so they'll be working more. They get paid. They're mostly living at home, so they're saving money. At the end of their apprenticeship, they will have the equivalent of a year's worth of college. So if they decide they do want to go on to college, they've got a leg up, right? No debt, usually 5 or 10 grand in the bank. But they will also have real life job experience. And they'll have a much better sense of, we think, what they want to do. And as automation and artificial intelligence eliminates whole careers and professions in the decades ahead, kids are going to have to assemble a lifetime of continuous learning and always be gathering new skills. And sometimes they're social skills, sometimes they're mathematical or coding skills. I mean, all these different skills. So we're doing that, and then combining that with a technology platform called skillful.com that Microsoft, it was originally LinkedIn, and Microsoft bought LinkedIn, and last summer they gave us a $26 million grant from their foundation, the largest grant ever. And it's going to eventually allow kids to, have a profile that follows them wherever they go of all the skills and the competencies they've accumulated. But if they're not happy in their profession or their profession's about to disappear, they can click on another profession and see immediately what skills they have that would be applicable to the new profession, but what skills they're missing and where they could go get the missing skills, what it would cost. And I think it's one of the most exciting things I've ever worked on because it's going to be so important. 70% of the kids in America, and this has been true for plus or minus 5%, been true for 30 years. 70% of the kids in America are never going to get a 4-year degree. Over the last couple of decades, we've made them feel like they're second-class citizens. And yet we need them to get skills so they can be ready for all these new jobs that are going to get created. Because as we eliminate other professions, there are whole new ones coming right on their heels.
All right, I love that concept, especially the fact that it's going to be so accessible to kids who, in this day and age, really expect that kind of accessibility.
And they should. And everyone's saying, well, so many truck drivers, bank tellers, they're not going to be able to want to get into this new technology. They're not going to be able to learn. Whatever, go look at how they handle their cell phones. Right? Those things are computers on their hip. And now, most people know how to get streaming video. They can pay their bills. They can buy stuff, move things around. I mean, people are going to have to learn things that they never thought they'd need to know. But if they're willing to do that, I think in many cases they're going to get a raise. They're going to keep their health benefits. Their life's going to get bigger in their job disruption than it was before. And what we've seen in the last 15 or 20 years, so many people, when their professions disappeared, we did, and Republicans, Democrats, political malpractice by everybody, in the 90s we did a terrible job of retraining them for the careers that were emerging. And we've got to, not only do we have to be better at it, we've got to get out ahead of it and predict these are all the jobs that are going to disappear. How do we get people in those jobs right now, even though they haven't lost their jobs yet? How do we start training them for the jobs that will be there?
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Governor Hickenlooper to hear his responses to what some Republicans have to say about him.
For information on how to help promote civil and mutually respectful discourse and support expansion of the distribution of our programs, please email info@harbertv.com.
I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. You can follow the show on Twitter for instant notification of new episodes, live event invitations, outtakes, and behind-the-scene photos. And tweet us your topic and guest suggestions today.
The Rex Al Broadcaster of the Year Award recognizes an individual who, through leadership, skill, and dedication, is advancing the broadcast industry in our state and our nation. Tonight, we honor Aaron Harber. Aaron has worked extensively in the media as a host, producer, political and economic commentator, and columnist. Today, the Aaron Harber Show is the focus of his media involvement. Aaron, it is a privilege to present you with the Rex Howell Broadcaster of the Year Award. Congratulations.
Just make journalism great again. I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. Find us on Facebook to get all the latest updates, see behind-the-scene photos, and make comments and ask me questions. You can see episodes before their TV broadcast, so like the show today.
The Aaron Harber Show may be viewed 24/7 at no charge from any location in the world at harbertv.com.
Welcome back to the show. We are with Governor John Hickenlooper. So some of the candidates for governor, I asked them what you had done poorly. And I wanted to give you a chance to respond because I think some of these themes are going to be coming up in the future.
Bring them at me.
So one comment was the economy suffered under the Hickenlooper administration. I'd like your response to that.
Well, by almost every measure, I mean, U.S. News and World Report measured us as the #1 economy in America. In 2018, they did that. In 2017, they ranked as #1. Forbes, I mean, go down the list. We were 40th in job creation when I got elected, and now we're either first or second. So I'll defend our honor on that.
All right. He didn't do enough to address transportation needs.
Again, we have a General Assembly that in every State of the State speech, I directed them that we needed more resources for infrastructure. We are the first expansion to I-70 capacity. So between Denver and Vail, we built those new tunnels, that whole new tunnel that allows us now to double what used to be a hazard and a kind of a constriction now flows through. And then coming back on the eastbound on Sundays, we hardened the breakdown lane. And so we use that as a third, HOV lane. I mean, we've cut the commute time coming back by 30%. Since the General Assembly wouldn't give any more money, I assume this was a Republican.
Oh, these are all Republicans.
And so this is a Republican who fought tooth and nail to make sure we didn't have any new resources to do anything with transportation so that they could criticize in the next election.
All right, next one. This is rapid fire.
Okay.
He supported the Colorado Health Exchange, an abject failure.
An abject failure, except that we've now got 95% coverage. When I came in, it was about 14. We had 14% of the people uncovered, so 86% coverage. Now we're at 95. So we dropped the percentage of people that don't have health insurance by more than half. He views that as a failure. Obviously, he doesn't have any family or friends or doesn't know anyone who went bankrupt because they didn't have health care coverage and they got a serious illness. He doesn't know anybody who's got an ongoing medical condition, a pre-existing condition, who wouldn't be covered or under President Obama is now pushing, and I believe each of the Republican candidates for governor are supporting. Who needs protections for pre-existing conditions? Why is that a big issue for anybody?
All right.
I want to ask these guys some questions.
Oh, I get to do that, by the way. So you can email me a few. I'll put them in. He should have vetoed the para bill because it didn't do enough.
Well, it took sacrifice from everyone, from the existing retirees, from the active present-day workers, and the state itself. Pretty much as close as we could tell, about a third. And we're now going to be pretty close to compliance. We think within a year we're going to look like in compliance, but it's silly season, right? People are running for office. Of course, they're going to say nonsense like, it didn't do enough, whatever.
All right. Well, you're going to have to come back because we're running out of time. But I have to ask you about your thoughts of the future, especially, of course, many people have encouraged you to run for president. And to me, it's kind of interesting because I think people who know you get excited about it, but I think most people in the country don't know you. And I think a lot of your positions resonate with a general election electorate. The intra-party battles strike me as really challenging, and especially when you run for president to get a nomination, it's 50 different contests of caucuses and primary elections. It's not one election. You really have to go after 50. What are your thoughts about the challenges of doing something like that? And you don't have to tell me whether or not you're running. But
I think the running part would be really fun. You have to distill yourself down to your essence, who you really are, why you're doing this, why do you think you would be a better president than anybody else running. And, part of the reason it takes a long time to figure out whether you want to run is you better be pretty sure. When you start taking people's money and putting together a team and looking at all these caucuses and all these primaries, once you start doing it and spending people's money, I think you have a real responsibility and obligation to follow it through, to do the best you can. And, it's hard to try and take and distill down to 30-second or 60-second answers, really complex issues, and to be able to talk, in a compelling way about things you deeply believe, but maybe you've never really tried to put into words, or they weren't political issues when I was running for governor. It's a steep hill, but it is, it's what my wife and I are talking about. Well, we'll see.
Okay. Well, what's interesting is, you have a great business background. And you've experienced the highs and lows of business. I don't think a lot of candidates have done that. In fact, especially on the Democratic side, I think you really don't have many candidates who've done that. You were mayor of a major city for 2 terms, and at the time acclaimed nationally as the best mayor in the country. And you've obviously had 2 very successful terms as governor. So to me, it's just kind of interesting. I see you as moderate in a lot of ways. And so to me, when I hear a lot of what the left people on the extreme left say, I'm wondering, okay, how does John navigate that? Because that really strikes me as a challenge.
I don't know if I'm moderate or, people say, well, they want single payer. And what we've really fought for here, and we're moving closer and closer to, is universal coverage. Are they that far apart? They basically both get you to universal coverage. Single payer is more disruptive, probably saves money in the long term, a lot to be said for it. But is it worth going into the trenches and battle about? Free tuition for college. Certainly, all education should be affordable. We're focusing more on that 70% of people that aren't going to finally get a 4-year degree, and that we want to make sure they get the skills at as low a cost and hopefully no cost, right? Why can't they get Pell Grants to go to community colleges and make sure they get skills training for their jobs? Why does only kids that go to 4-year colleges get Pell Grants, or certain types of college institutions? I don't view me being more radical. I'm different. Some would say moderate. Some might say I'm more extreme. But it's, I'm like a lot of, I think, good elected officials. I try to be a problem solver, right? I want to figure out what is the greatest good for the greatest number of people at the lowest cost, and and where are the places we can bring people together.
There's more of the Aaron Harber Show after this.
In my office, if people start talking about Trump, I forbid it, just because you can spend the whole day talking about the things that made you angry, or this problem or that thing.
For information on how to help promote civil and mutually respectful discourse and support expansion of the distribution of our programs, please email info@harbertv.com.
I'm Aaron Harber, host of the Aaron Harber Show. Find us on Facebook to get all the latest updates, see behind-the-scene photos, and make comments and ask me questions. You can see episodes before their TV broadcast, so like the show today. Hi, I'm Aaron Harber, host of the Aaron Harber Show. Because I've never done endorsements or commercials, people ask how are our programs funded, especially because we provide them as a public service to all our broadcast outlets. It's expensive to produce our show, whether we do them here in Denver or go to places such as Aspen, Washington, D.C., or even Iraq. The answer is we depend on contributions to support our work to bring you some of the nation's top opinion leaders. Individuals, businesses, foundations, and other nonprofits make tax-deductible contributions to the Democracy and Media Education Foundation to help allow us to continue to work for you. To find out more or to make a donation, just go to dmefd.org. The DMEF is a tax-exempt public charitable organization and has promised to dedicate 100% of every contribution to support our public affairs initiatives. If you believe, as I do, in the need for a forum which promotes civil discourse and mutually respectful discussion, I hope you'll decide to make a contribution today. I'm Aaron Harber, host of the Aaron Harber Show. You can follow the show on Twitter for instant notification of new episodes, live event invitations, outtakes, and behind-the-scene photos. And tweet us your topic and guest suggestions today.
Join me and watch the Aaron Harber Show.
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 I'm Reverend Jesse Jackson. Watch the Aaron Harber Show and keep hope alive.
I'm Aaron Harber, host of the Aaron Harber Show. I very much would like to hear from you about the program, so please send me an email with your thoughts. You can suggest what topics I should cover, what guests I should invite to be on the show, or even what specific questions you would like me to ask. This is your program, so send your suggestions to aaron@harbertv.com. I promise to personally read every one, so email me today. And most of all, thanks for watching.
The Aaron Harber Show may be viewed 24/7 at no charge from any location in the world at harbertv.com.
So I want to talk about your potential opponent, Donald Trump. And I'm really interested in your take on, I've been fascinated at how he, from the day he announced his campaign for office, how he has just totally dominated the news media. And the concept of tweeting directly to the American people. And so I'd be interested in your take on that. And how does one, as a candidate or as a potential opponent, address that challenge? Because it seems every day he's kind of controlling the news. I'd also be interested in your thoughts about the responsibility of journalists and the press, because when you think about it, when he issues a tweet, maybe a few million actually see it on Twitter, but those of us in the media who repeat the tweet, who broadcast the tweet, suddenly amplify what a few million people may see to 100 million people, and in some cases, 200 million people.
Yeah, it's unpaid media.
So tell me your thoughts about that.
Well, it's just, in my office, if people start talking about Trump, I forbid it, just because you can spend the whole day talking about the things that made you angry, or this problem or that thing. We've got work to do. We've got a lot of stuff to get done. I think he has been very successful at using his experience as a reality TV show to outrage people and, be there larger than life in the media all the time. It's easy to be, it's not easy, but it's much more difficult to be a celebrity over a longer period of time. And I don't think his control of the front page, his control of the media, is going to stand the test of time. I don't.
Well, I guess we'll find out. Great example, immigration. I want your take on immigration and maybe what we need to do. But one of the things that he's saying and been saying is that Democrats want open borders. Democrats want to allow members of the MS-13 gang to just come into the country. I haven't heard of a single Democrat taking either of those positions. But it's interesting because when you watch news programs on certain channels like Fox, for example, you hear all these types of mantras being repeated. And it's clear that it impacts people, that it affects people, that these things get repeated. How does one address that? And why do Democrats not seem to be responding as vociferously as they should be?
Well, I'm not sure an angry response does you any good. He's going to distort one's position and try to figure out some way to manipulate you into a into a situation that betrays your real intent, what you think should be done. Again, at a certain point, the media is going to stop covering all of that stuff. In terms of immigration, the notion of separating children from their families, that's child abuse. That's clinical child abuse that he ordered the government to do. Right? On U.S. grounds, we are sanctioning, state-sanctioned child abuse. Whoever dreamed it? But it's what he's doing. Trying to get on the air and screaming and yelling about it. I mean, you got to present your side of it and say what's going on, but you don't want to engage him or elevate him into some enhanced celebrity orbit.
All right, we'll drop Trump. One of the really fascinating aspects of what you've done in terms of the concept of reaching across the aisle, and you and Ohio Governor John Kasich have often made presentations and proposals together. Tell me where that's going and what you think you were able to accomplish so far with that.
So Governor Kasich, and he is an experienced, he's literally had twice as much political experience as I have. He was the chair of the House Budget Committee in 1994. And we both felt that there needed to be a bipartisan voice to make sure that the Affordable Care Act didn't get completely, dismantled. That we didn't roll back health care coverage on 16 or 20 million people. And I think our effort saved the day. I think John McCain heard us. I think a number of people, a number of other governors came on board and said, this isn't the way to do this. And I think they saw politically that Republicans don't want to have to face an angry mob of people that are losing their health care.
All right, we're running out of time, only a minute left. What advice do you have for your successor? I know it's a little early to ask that, but I'm sure you've thought about it a little bit.
No, I think that advice to any person elected into an executive leadership, a mayor, a governor, surround yourself with the most talented people you can find. Find people that are smarter than you are. There are lots of them out there. I don't care how well you think how smart you think you are on one thing. People that get elected to be the mayor or get elected to be the governor, generally they're well-rounded and they have a certain amount of experience in a lot of different things. It's easy to find people that are smarter in each of these things, each of these different agencies. Hire them, and don't underestimate how much work. It's long hours. You got to work hard. You've got to build relationships. So especially with the General Assembly, you got to be nice, and then you've got to have a certain level of perseverance. So work hard, be nice, never quit.
All right. Sounds like a good mantra for the restaurant business, too.
I tell you, it's the only thing that works.
All right. Thanks, John.
Good to see you.
All right. That was Governor John Hickenlooper. I'm Aaron Harber. Thanks for watching.
Please contact us. We want to hear from you. And thanks for watching.